The biggest opposition coalition Nigeria has seen since 1999, Atiku, Peter Obi, El-Rufai, Kwankwaso, Aregbesola, Rotimi Amaechi, all under one roof, spent months building a monster to take down Tinubu in 2027. And then, just this week, it collapsed. Peter Obi and Kwankwaso walked out. 17 House of Representative members dumped the party in a single day. El-Rufai's own son just defected to a different opposition party. The whole thing is falling apart in real time. But here's what nobody is asking. Did Tinubu's team cause this? And if so, how? Because what looks like opposition chaos might actually be one of the most calculated political moves you've ever seen play out in Nigerian democracy. Stay with me, because this one goes deep. Before we go deeper, if you're just finding Naija News feed, welcome. This channel exists to break down what's really happening in Nigerian politics without the noise, without the spin. The only way you can help me keep doing this work is by hitting that subscribe button right now. It costs you nothing, but it means everything to this channel. Subscribe, stay with me, because this one gets very interesting. Let's set the scene. It's 2026. Nigeria's 2027 general elections are less than a year away. January 16, 2027 is the presidential date. And for the first time in a long time, the opposition looked genuinely dangerous. In March 2025, a coalition of heavyweights, Atiku Abubakar, Nasir El-Rufai, David Mark, Rotimi Amaechi, Kayode Fayemi, Rauf Aregbesola, came together with one goal: remove Tinubu from Aso Rock. By July 2025, they adopted the African Democratic Congress, the ADC, as their vehicle. Then Peter Obi joined in December 2025. Then Kwankwaso in March 2026. At that point, you had the 2023 runner-up, 2 former governors, a former VP, and multiple former APC heavyweights, all under one roof. Tinubu's team was watching, and they had a response. This week, May 2026, the ADC coalition has collapsed. Peter Obi and Kwankwaso have jumped ship to a brand new party called the Nigeria Democratic Congress, the NDC. 17 lawmakers dumped the ADC for the NDC in one day. El-Rufai's own son just defected from the APC also to the NDC. And the ADC is now accusing the ruling APC of deliberately engineering their internal crisis. That is the trigger event. Now let's understand the structure behind it. Here's the structural reality. Under Nigeria's electoral law and the 1999 Constitution, to win the presidency, you don't just need the most votes. You need a plurality and at least 25% of votes in no fewer than 24 out of 36 states. That's the famous 2/3 spread rule. This is why coalition building matters so much. No single ethnic or regional bloc can deliver that spread alone. You need northwest numbers, southeast numbers, southwest numbers, all at once. INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, oversees party registration and electoral processes. Tinubu had a window to appoint a new INEC chairman when the previous chairman's tenure expired, and that appointment shapes the institutional environment heading into 2027. Beyond INEC, there's the judiciary. The ADC is currently tangled in multiple court cases over its own leadership, cases that have paralyzed internal decision-making and made it impossible to agree on a presidential candidate. Whether those cases were filed organically or with outside encouragement, nobody is officially saying, but the timing is hard to ignore. Now this is the heart of the story. Move 1. Let them come together, then split them. A Gobe ADC chieftain from Benue State said it plainly this week. Tinubu is not afraid of Atiku. He is not afraid of Peter Obi. He is not afraid of Kwankwaso. But he is afraid of them coming together. That is the honest assessment, even from the other side. And Tinubu's entire strategy has been to make sure that never happens. The ADC started fracturing the moment it grew too powerful. lawsuits appeared, leadership disputes exploded, and Peter Obi himself once said at a coalition meeting on record that if the opposition presents two candidates against Tinubu, they hand him the victory. He knew the risk, and then he left anyway. Move 2. The infrastructure narrative. While the opposition was fighting over a presidential ticket, Tinubu's team was quietly touring the country with bulldozers and cameras. The Lagos-Calabar coastal road, the Badagry to Sokoto highway, rail rehabilitation linking northern markets to southern ports, electricity projects in rural communities. The message from his renewed hope ambassadors was deliberate. Don't listen to what politicians are promising. Look at what you can see and touch. The subsidy removal, the most controversial economic decision of his presidency, is being reframed as the source of the funding for all of this. Whether ordinary Nigerians accept that reframe is still the big question. Move 3. The APC absorption machine. Since May 2025, 3 Kebbi senators defected to the APC. Labour Party and PDP lawmakers have been crossing over in batches. Tinubu stood at the APC National Policy Summit and said directly, "I am expecting more to come. That is the game." The APC formally declared him his sole presidential candidate for 2027. The absorption strategy weakened APC parties structurally. Every lawmaker who crosses over reduces opposition capacity in the National Assembly. Move 4. The running mate calculation. Here's the silent play. Tinubu ran on a Muslim ticket in 2023, himself and VP Shettima. That worked in the north then, but his economic policies have hurt his northern numbers. The calculation now: swap Shettima for a Christian running mate, ideally from the north, to rebalance southern Christian support and rebalance the ticket. That decision alone could shift millions of votes, and it puts Shettima in a very uncomfortable position heading into 2027. Now, if what I just laid out surprises you, drop a comment below right now. I want to know your take. Do you think this is political genius, or is it anti-democratic manipulation? Give me your honest view, because I read every comment. And subscribe to Naija Newsfeed if you haven't. It is literally the only way to help me keep breaking this down. Subscribe, stay with me, because this one gets very interesting.
Let's be honest about both sides. The Tinubu argument. Reform is painful but necessary. Subsidy removal freed up money. Projects are visible. The economy is stabilizing. The Naira, though still under pressure, has found more stability than the chaos of 2023. Investors are returning. Give the reforms time to deliver. The counter-argument. Infrastructure projects don't pay rent. Inflation, unemployment, and the cost of living are the daily reality for most Nigerians, and no highway changes that in the short term. Critics also point out that Tinubu's consolidation of political power, absorbing opposition parties, appointing allies to key institutions, engineering lawsuits in rival camps, raises serious questions about the health of Nigeria's democracy. The Arewa Consultative Forum has publicly accused him of prioritizing 2027 over national governance. That is not a small accusation. The bigger national picture. If the opposition remains fragmented, ADC with Atiku, NDC with Obi and Kwankwaso, PDP rebuilding under either Wike or Makinde, their votes split 3 or 4 ways in 2027. History shows what that means. It's exactly how Tinubu won in 2023 with under 37% of the vote in the first place. A divided opposition is structurally Tinubu's best friend. And Nigeria's significance on the continent means this matters beyond our borders. West Africa is watching whether democracy consolidates here or whether institutional engineering becomes the playbook. So where does this go? Here's what to watch. Watch the NDC. The Nigeria Democratic Congress with Obi and Kwankwaso is now the most interesting variable in 2027. If they unite around a single presidential candidate with a credible vice presidential pick, and if the Atiku camp in ADC stays separate, the opposition splits and Tinubu walks in. But if NDC and ADC somehow reconcile into one ticket before the INEC deadline, that changes the whole equation. Watch the running mate's decision. If Tinubu swaps Shettima for a northern Christian, expect a backlash inside the APC from the Muslim north. That internal tension could cost him in ways the opposition never could. Watch El-Rufai. The former Kaduna governor is now fully in opposition territory. He has inside knowledge of APC structures, northern networks, and Tinubu's political playbook. If he locks in with NDC and puts that knowledge to work, he becomes dangerous. Best case scenario for Nigeria: a competitive, issues-based 2027 election that forces Tinubu to defend his record on economic hardship and forces the opposition to present a real governing vision, not just a coalition of grievances. Worst-case scenario: a completely fractured opposition, a one-sided election, and a second term delivered by structure rather than genuine democratic competition, which sets a troubling precedent for whoever comes after Tinubu. The next 6 months will decide which of those two Nigeria gets. We started with a question: did Tinubu's team cause the opposition collapse? The honest answer is we don't have a court ruling, but we have a pattern. Coalition fractures at the most convenient moment, lawsuits appearing against rival parties, a relentless absorption of opposition lawmakers, and a president who stood up in public and said, "I am expecting more to come." That is the game. That is not the language of someone surprised by what's happening. That is the language of someone running a script. Whether you think that's political genius or democratic manipulation, that's the conversation Nigeria needs to be having right now, not in 2027 when the ballots are cast. Now. What do you think? Is Tinubu unstoppable, or is there still a genuine path for the opposition? Drop your take in the comments. If this breakdown gave you clarity on what is really going on in Nigerian politics right now, do me a favor, share it with one person who needs to understand this. Like the video and subscribe to Naija News Feed. That subscription is the only way you can help me keep making content like this. Every subscriber tells me this work matters. I'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp.